Alright, this morning was pretty much a bust. We saw a small little spike, but I was up at John Nugent's property trying to film him shoot a buck, but his stand's usually a morning stand and you don't usually see that many doe, so we decided to come up here to my food plot and we're going to try to get John a doe like I did. Haven't been back here since I shot my doe earlier in the season. Do have some scrapes. I didn't bring my bow. Just strictly going to be filming John shoot a doe tonight. So hopefully it all comes together tonight. You've probably seen John in some of our other videos, and you probably have seen him if you watch the Steeler games. He's catching the football in the back of the end zone, raising the nets, catching the football after it goes through the field goal. But anyways, it was really windy this morning, so we didn't see that much. So it seemed to calm down. It's getting colder. It should be a good night.
Meh.
Roll 4 point. We're back up here at John's property trying to shoot a buck. We saw 2 bucks on the way in, but it rained. It was just pouring, so we just now got in. It's about 8 o'clock, and it's just starting to taper off in the rain. But the deer are still moving. The rut, the weather doesn't affect the rut. It may affect their movement, but the deer are still in rut right now, so. Yeah, that's different. Last night, the reason why we let that buck go is John on his property has a lot of nice bucks on his property, and probably some bigger ones than that. So we were out actually to take a doe, and probably would have shot the smaller doe because he actually been talking about getting a small doe just for the tenderness of the meat. And so we do a lot of doe management on my property, so I was really trying to get some doe. And so this morning it was raining. We ended up seeing 2 buck on the way into the stand, and so
we only got into the stand at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, because it was just raining
all the way up.
But we did see one doe.
One doe.
We think it was a doe
from a distance,
and it ran through, but no bucks chasing it. So not really sure what's going on. I don't know. I mean, the bucks are definitely chasing does around. They're moving, but this weather really has them probably holding tight. We saw some scrapes on the way out that were hit harder than what they were yesterday, so they could have been, they're still coming out at night and being real active at night, not that much during the day when it's really windy and rainy. So, all right, it's the evening hunt, Saturday night, and we decided to come back up to John's property and not go to my food plot, only because we pulled all his trail cameras the other day. We checked them today, and usually historically in the evening this isn't a good spot, but when we pulled the trail cameras, there was all kinds of game. Now, yeah, there was some stuff coming through at night, but he had a lot of nice bucks on camera and doe coming right through here. So we decided to come here so he could shoot buck or doe. And but anyways, when we pulled the trail camera, it was amazing the game that we saw. We saw gray fox, we saw fishers, we saw all kinds of bucks, really nice bucks, day and night pictures. We also saw a bobcat, which is really cool because you really don't see those in Clarion County that often. But bearded hen, I mean, there's a lot of game here. They got a lot of coyotes and bear around too. Didn't get any pictures in the past month of those, but we're hoping that a doe or a nice buck comes through, and John said he's going to take a buck if it presents him a pretty good shot. So there's several different 8 points. There's a big 9 point, a big 11 point around, but some of those didn't show up on the trail cameras, but they were 2 months ago all over the place here. So rut, you never know, they could go away, or we could see another big buck that they may not have ever had on trail camera. So that's the greatest thing about the rut. You never know what's going to come by. So big buck, big buck, big buck. That's a different buck. Oh man.
Well, but
yeah, it seemed like it was going to be a good night, but I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We were talking just the weather, and you know, we were looking at the trail camera. As soon as the rut started, there was a little bit of a different pattern to what the deer were doing, but I don't know. We're just.
I have reason to believe. Just hear me out.
Okay.
Before the rut starts.
Yeah.
It's such a bachelor pad down there.
Yeah.
Seriously, there's just endless bucks. That maybe when the rut starts, they don't hang out with each other. They're off trying to doe. Yeah. So they move out. Because as soon as the rut ends during rifle season, it's the same thing. They come right back to it.
Yeah.
And they all hang out down there like all together.
But even though we did see a couple bucks during daytime,
in the
evening around here, but it was definitely you know, a pattern shift a little bit, and that's the way it goes. But John will be hunting down around home, and I'll make it out this week sometime and maybe next. See what we can get, see if I can get anything down. Well, we weren't able to close the deal with John up on his property. The weather was just completely was so windy that it just didn't seem like the deer wanted to move. But now it's the middle of the week, it's Wednesday. I'm actually able to get out with the bow myself. First time I've been out since I shot my doe up in my food plot. But what's funny is I got done with some work today. It's around 2 o'clock now. So about an hour ago, I went up and checked my trail camera from in my food plot, and there was a nice about 2-year-old 8-point right underneath, probably 10 yards from the stand, making a scrape there. I believe there was a doe down below him. And but yeah, I mean, I got quite a few different bucks on my trail camera up there in the food plot. Half of them have been at night, but the deer are moving all during the day, or all times of the day, from 10:30, noon, 1 o'clock. So it can happen at any time. The rut is on. It's just that hopefully a hot doe comes by, or we find a buck cruising looking for a doe. I am up in the pine stand. It's been so long since I've been up in these pines. But one of the things is the tree that I used to hunt out of with Danielle and I also in the rifle season, well, those were white ash. And if you look right here, you can see that white ash is dead. It's so dead. So the problem is the nicest, biggest, straightest trees in the whole section of this pine stand were all white ash. They're all dead. I don't feel safe strapping myself to one of those trees. And so I'm in a big cherry tree. Shane Reed killed a doe out of this tree right here one time in an earlier video. Down here's the logging road. I actually have our double ladder stand from up on top of the hill set right there, so that way if Danielle and I wanted to come and hunt this pine stand, instead of being up in here looking down at the road, because a lot of the deer like to walk the road, we'd be down below the road looking up. The only problem is now we can't see way up in there because it is so thick, and you have all these autumn olive and jagger bushes and multiflora rose growing, and but this is the type of place where bucks like to go. The does like to try to stay hidden from the bucks, and I always see a lot of good rut activity where you are in dark, thick, remote places where the deer usually just don't get disturbed, and you're not going to see them driving down the logging road. They're going to be up in here laying in this thick stuff. So I'm about 50-60 yards off the road, and it's starting to open up because now a lot of these pine trees have fallen down, and a lot of the birch and maple are coming up, and that's shading out a lot of this brush and opening it up a little bit more in the middle. What's interesting, this is really interesting. I have killed, I've killed the last 2 Pope and Young bucks out of here. In 2006, 2007, and that was in a big white ash tree right up here, maybe probably 75 yards. I killed my very first buck with my bow and arrow. I believe it was in that tree right there. Yeah, it's only about 10 feet and it's dead and broken off. What that was is one of these little Scotch or red pine here, and that's what used to be all through here, and they've slowly started to die, falling off, and now that's what left the white ash and the birch to come up through, and not really any oak, because the oak anything that you do see as oak is getting choked out. This does sort of need timbered a little bit. Take some of that, there's junk trees like the birch and the dead white ash out of there, but hopefully some of those oak come up through. If we can get some oak coming up through, then the acorns will be in here. Then you'll really see a lot of deer activity. I just now put my trail cameras out. I put another one up here in the pines. It's nice to have a little sanctuary place where you're not going in even early in the season and just leaving it be. You don't really need to go in there and see what's going on all the time. But now that it's rut, I feel safe going in, putting a trail camera up. We're going into the deer's bedroom, and you want to make sure you're going into where their bedding area is and their hiding places when they're not using their senses for smell for survival, such as trying to smell a human, trying to see people. They just get all dumb, and they're mainly focused on looking for does. So I brought my rattling antlers, grunt tube, and if I do see something, I can make a few grunts and maybe throw snort wheeze out there if I think the buck is a little bit older, and we'll respond to that, and we'll just see how it goes. We just had 2 bucks come flying by. One was pretty small, maybe a 6 point. The other one looked like an 8 point, a decent 8 point. Well, I spotted a doe coming up out of the bottom. And that 8-point that was up in my food plot with John, he's right on her tail. Now I snort-wheezed and grunted, and he got into a very defensive position and he was headed this way. Well, I quit calling because I heard something behind me. And here there was a doe and a fawn coming in behind me. And I completely forgot about that buck because I didn't know it was a doe and fawn until she come out up above me here. And I think that buck just kept going with that doe. I think he was expecting, if I was the buck, to come to him to fight, but he stayed right on that doe. And it's getting pretty dark now, but it's pretty cold. Day 2 of my rut hunt. Back in the stand, really cold, really windy. Saturday evening, Monday's the last day. I don't know if I'll hunt Monday or not, but I just hate this wind, but we'll see what happens. Seen that one before, and I threw everything I had at him. Grunts, snort, wheezed, rattle, and he paid no attention to me at all. He just kept walking straight, and that's the thing. When a nice buck is already past your line to come to your stand, he's already past that. It's very, very difficult during the rut to get that deer to turn around. He's already used his senses, his sense of smell, his sight, his sound, hearing, to find a doe where I'm at. For all I know, he was standing down there for the past 20-30 seconds and didn't see anything up here. It's strange because you know he heard the call, but he would not come in. And he just disappeared right into those pines. Now I put my trail camera sort of in the direction that he went. So it'd be really great to get a good picture of him on my trail camera. I don't think I have him up in my food plot, so I'm about 200 yards from my tree, from my food plot, down into the pines. So they're moving. I wish I would have seen him a lot earlier to get that call on him and then bring him up this way. Possibly a shooter. I don't know. was pretty cool. Doe come out, and I could hear him grunting back in the pine, so I kept grunting, and I had to snort wheeze. When I had a snort wheeze, he come out, chase that doe off. At the same time, another doe down here next to me, she was coming in, but obviously the hot doe was up where he was, and he just kept going. Now I stopped him. He was looking down here. The problem is my scent is going straight up to him. It didn't seem to bother him much, but he was probably like, you know what, if you want to fight me, come up to me, because I'm on a hot doe. So if he was by himself, maybe I would have been able to bring him down, but he was right on the tail of that doe, and might have been an 11 point that I think I got on my trail camera up in my food plot. I'll have to replay the footage to look, but it looked like he had an extra point or two there, and maybe a kicker at the butt base, but I'll have to rewatch the footage. It's really hard to film when it's really windy and stuff. I can't feel my feet, and I'm just about thinking that I'm not going to be able to sit here till dark because I can't feel my feet, and my fingers they're getting hard to work. But that just goes to show you, you saw that doe that was right below me. I'm snort wheezing, grunting really loud, and they don't pay any attention because they're used to that. That buck, I bet I heard him grunt probably 15 times before he actually showed himself. So that just goes to show that doing some blind calling and calling, it never really hurts. But I try to do it before he comes this way, but that hot doe, he wasn't leaving her. So I don't know if I'm going to stay in much longer because I am freezing. Alright, it's the last day. There's probably 2.5 hours of hunting left, and it's perfect conditions. Wind is still, it's dry, it's cloudy, perfect conditions. There's a cold front coming in, possibly snow tomorrow, and I should have been in the stand all day today, but I was busy with work and other things, so we'll see. Hopefully they don't spook anything going in, but hey, it's rut. That's when they get dumb, and you can kill some nice bucks, but just gotta hopefully they come by my stand. So usually I get a chance to at least pass one legal buck up yet, and I haven't had one actually come within bow range, so we'll see what happens. That's looking like my season. 2 buck, 3 doe, unless something happens right here at last light. Just didn't see any big ones today, so off to rifle season.